Today we will rank every single RDR character based on how evil they are. There are 5 categories: the devil himself, evil, anti-hero, evil sometimes, and good. Let's start. We are starting with Sushan Grimshaw. Now Sushan is what I'd call an evil sometimes character. She's got her moments, no doubt about it. She's fierce and unapologetic within the van der Linde gang, and she won't hesitate to do what's necessary to keep things in line. It's not that she enjoys cruelty for the sake of it. It's more of a do-what-you've-got-to-do situation. So Sushan Grimshaw falls into the evil sometimes category. Now let's move on to Leopold Strauss. Strauss is a loan shark. You know, the kind of fella who preys on folks in dire straits, squeezing every penny out of them. He's ruthless when it comes to collecting debts, and he doesn't lose sleep over it. What makes him unmistakably evil is his complete lack of remorse. He'll ruin lives without batting an eye, and he doesn't care about the consequences. No, sir, there's no redemption for this. So, Leopold Strauss fits the evil tier list. Next is John Marston. John's a complicated guy, no doubt about it. He's been on both sides of the law, and he's done some pretty dark deeds in the past. But here's where the hero part comes in. He's on a quest for redemption. John's trying to leave his outlaw days behind and make things right for his family. He's got a code of honor, even if it means doing some morally questionable things along the way. Anti-hero seems perfect for John. Irish? Oh, what can we say about this crazy guy from Red Dead Redemption? Well, he's quite the character, and his actions might just put him in a certain tier. Irish is a heavy drinker and gambler, and he's got a knack for stirring up trouble. He's not the kind of guy you'd want to rely on in a tight spot. His selfish tendencies often lead him down a path of chaos. But when it comes to loyalty and doing what's right, he's a bit of a wild card. You never quite know which way he'll swing. Somewhat evil is where I'm going to rank him. Next up is Lenny Summers. Lenny's a member of the van der Linde gang, and he's no stranger to a life of crime. He's not a straightforward villain, but he's certainly no saint either. Lenny's actions often blur the line between right and wrong, and his loyalty to the gang drives him to extremes. So, Lenny Summers falls into the anti-hero category, if you ask me. Hosiah Matthews is next. Hosiah is a veteran outlaw, but he's not as ruthless as some of his companions. He often serves as a voice of reason within the van der Linde gang, trying to maintain a sense of morality in their criminal freak show. However, there are moments when Hosiah's actions might be questionable, especially when he's pushed to protect the gang, or when the stakes are high. He's not above bending the rules or resorting to morally gray tactics to ensure the gang's survival. Sometimes evil is perfect. Abigail Roberts, or Marston. Whatever you want to say, she had a tough freaking childhood and overall life, but she isn't evil still. If you compare her to other characters, she seems like a saint, so I'm going to give her the good tier. Seth Briars. This is going to be interesting. Seth is a treasure hunter with a serious obsession. He's willing to do anything, and I mean anything, to get his hands on those precious trinkets. His actions often lead to chaos and death, and he doesn't seem to have much of a moral compass. He's not just your run-of-the-mill outlaw. Seth's a whole different breed of bad. His selfishness and disregard for others make him a prime example of an evil character, definitely going to evil. Landon Rickets. Lando's a gunslinger with a mysterious past, and he's not afraid to get his hands dirty when it comes to fighting for what's right. He's a bit of a lone wolf, but he's got a sense of justice that's hard to ignore. Don't get me wrong, he's no saint. Lando's been in the outlaw game himself, but he's turned a new leaf and aims to make the Wild West a better place. So, Lando Rickets? He's anti-hero. Let's talk about Bill Williamson here. Bill is the kind of outlaw who revels in chaos and cruelty. He's not just a member of Dutch's gang, he's the guy who's often calling the shots and making things go from bad to worse. His actions are nothing short of diabolical. He's ruthless, power-hungry, and doesn't give a damn about anyone but himself. Bill's trail of destruction and violence is a testament to his evil nature. So, when we're talking about the devil himself in the Wild West, it's Bill Williamson who fits that bill. All right, time for Uncle. Yeah, literal Uncle. Sure, he spends most of his time lounging around, avoiding work like the plague, and spinning tales of his glory days. But deep down, Uncle is a chill and harmless dude. He might not be the most productive member of the gang, but he's got a good heart, and he's always up for a drink and a laugh. Sean McGuire. Now, when it comes to Sean McGuire, you see, Sean might initially come across as a lively and fun-loving guy, But once you scratch beneath that surface, you'll find a darker side. Sean isn't just reckless, he's got a brutal streak in him. I mean, I've seen him get involved in violent and downright brutal confrontations. He doesn't hesitate to take lives when it suits him, and his impulsivity often drags the gang into some seriously dangerous situations. I'm definitely going with the evil tier. Alright, it's Josiah Treleveny next. Now, when it comes to Josiah Treleveny, I'd say he's a bit on the somewhat evil side, you know what I mean? Trelawny's got this smooth talker vibe, and he's always dipping his toes into shady waters. I mean, he's not as outright ruthless as some of the other gang members, but he's no saint either. He's got this talent for deception when it suits him. You won't find him starting gunfights left and right, but he's definitely got his own tricks up his sleeve. So, personally, I'd drop him in the somewhat evil category. Just my take on it, you know? Micah Bell. Yes. This is what we were waiting for. First off, that smile of his, it's like a warning for trouble. Micah thrives on chaos and violence, and he's got a knack for causing problems wherever he goes. But what really sets him apart is how he never feels sorry for what he does. We've all seen him do some terrible things, and it's like he doesn't even care. He's caused more issues for the gang than anyone else, and that's saying something. And let's talk about betrayal. Micah's the kind of guy who'd stab you in the back without hesitation. Loyalty means nothing to him. Now, I understand that some might argue that he's just a product of his surroundings, but that doesn't excuse his actions. He's not a victim, he's a wrongdoer. So, in my honest opinion, Micah Bell deserves the title of devil himself. Sadie Adler is next. You see, Sadie's been through a lot. She's got a thirst for revenge that's undeniable. She doesn't shy away from violence when it's necessary to get what she wants, and she's not one to be messed with. But here's the thing. She's got a sense of justice, albeit a bit skewed. She's not out there causing trouble for the sake of it. She's got her reasons, and those reasons often align with what's right in her eyes. Now, that doesn't mean she's a hero in the traditional sense. She's rough around the edges, and her methods can be brutal. She is definitely an anti-hero-worthy character. Javier Escuella is up next. I know some will say he's an honorable former revolutionary, but nah, deep down my man Javier was wicked. Sure, he could pluck a mean guitar and sing campfire tunes sweetly, and if you only played RDR2, it's easy to forget what Javier becomes. But let's recap real quick. Come RDR1, Javier gleefully took part in massacring John's innocent ranch hands at Beecher's Hope. No remorse for dealing out cold-blooded murder just for his pal Bill. And I didn't see principled revolutionary ideals when Javier was gunning down John in the mountains. Dude fully embraced outlaw brutality once the Vanderlinde gang started dissolving. He is definitely an evil fella. Simon Pearson belongs in the good gang, no question. The man was a darn cook, Luisa Fortuna. Okay, another female character. And before you all call me biased, let me explain. She really wasn't involved in much maniacal stuff by her own choice. Overall, she has a good character, and is an important one, if you ask me. I'm going with the good tier. Okay, we have Mary Gaskill here. In my view, Mary Beth Gaskill in Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the good ones. She's the kind of character who maintains her moral compass in a world that often tests it. Besides that, I can't think of any moment that could make her evil, if you ask me. Okay, Bonnie is next. Bonnie MacFarlane from the original Red Dead Redemption is a bit of a mixed bag, at least from where I'm sitting. There are moments when she leans towards good, but she's also shown a willingness to bend the rules to serve her sense of justice. It's kind of a gray area, if you ask me, but not too gray. Evil sometimes will do. Wait a minute. We have the mysterious, strange man here. This guy was freaking mysterious. So I'm going with the devil himself. We know nothing about him, so that makes sense. Reverend Swanson. Okay, let's do it. Now, Reverend Swanson is a character who's a bit tough to pin down. He's a preacher with good intentions, but as you dig into the story, you start to see his flaws. Booze and some questionable choices reveal a more complex side to him. Sometimes evil, maybe. Charles Smith. Let's talk about Charles Smith. In my opinion, he's a straightforward good character. He's got principles and a strong moral code, and he consistently does what's right. In a gang filled with psychopaths, Charles deserves this. Edgar Ross, now there's a character who falls squarely into the evil category in my book. His crazy pursuit of John Marston, even after Marston had more than paid his dues, was just straight up evil. It's hard to see any redeeming qualities in a character like him. Molly O'Shea, well, she's a bit of an enigma. In my opinion, her actions and decisions throughout Red Dead Redemption too show moments of betrayal and instability. It's hard to pick, but sometimes evil is the best option. Karen Jones is the next one. Karen is an interesting one. She is kind of an anti-hero, if you ask me. Not entirely evil nor good. She is good at what she does, but that doesn't make her good. Nun Calderon. Nun Calderon is a good character in my eyes. She is one of the few characters in this series who seems mentally stable. Definitely going to the good tier. Tilly Jackson. Tilly Jackson is another character I'd classify as good. She is loyal, and doesn't have a ruthless personality type. Yeah, she doesn't get much attention, but that's alright because I really liked her character. Arthur Morgan. Alright, this might cause a comment section war, but I'm going to say it. Now, Arthur Morgan, it pains me to say this, leans toward the evil side. I know, many of you see him as a complex character, but when you look at all the questionable things he's done in the name of the gang, it's hard to argue otherwise. He is ruthless murder, and yeah, I didn't rank Marston as evil. But when you play these two games twice or 3 times, you will see that Arthur was one step ahead. Dutch van der Linde, the devil himself. There, I said it. It's tough competition for Micah, if you ask me. He has many psychopathic features, and I'm not going to call him a full-blown psycho, but he is ruthless and aggressive, especially when it comes to taking the lives of others. He can be called a broken man, but I'm going with the devil himself. After all, he is the leader. So there it is, the final evil tier list for Red Dead Redemption. What changes would you personally make? Let me know in the comments section, and I promise to see you in the next video.